Hey everybody, Corey here. I'm making this first impressions video today because I have a really big problem. And I have a really big problem with this knife. And yeah, this is one of those kind of clickbaity things right now, but bear with me. So we are dealing with the Ganzo Knives Firebird model FH13 SS. Okay. What is my problem with this knife? My problem with this knife is that it is giving you way too damn much for your money. I bought this on Amazon for $27.50, $27.50. And I bought it without doing pretty much any research because what caught my attention was I was just scrolling through Amazon, and Amazon knows that I like knives, and it suggested this knife to me, and I saw in the title D2, and I'm like, there's no way it's D2 steel at $27.50. And sure enough, I click it and it's D2 steel. And I start doing some research on this knife, and I start finding out that people love this knife. People who review this knife have nothing but good things to say about this. And this is all after I already got it in my hands. So I get the knife in my hands on the way out the door. I realize the package is sitting at my doorstep. And my wife is driving, and I flip it open in the car and I go, excuse me? And the part that makes me say, excuse me, remember, this is 27 bucks. This action, it's almost dropped shut. It's almost dropped shut. And I started doing some research. Not only is it a D2 blade, it's on bearings. It's on bearings. A $27 knife is on bearings. And it falls shut. And the action is smooth. And the steel is good. Now, there are some problems that I've noticed. Actually, there's really only one that I can think of. The chamfering on the edges here, not this one, not this edge. These outermost edges are fine, but the inner edges of the liner are actually quite sharp. Not ridiculously sharp. You'll survive. You're paying 27 bucks for a knife. And the jimping is actually really, really aggressive. I actually might not mind this if I was using gloves. But this is really sharp jimping. So it's a little uncomfortable there. But because of the chamfering that they did on, all the edges like this, it's still comfortable to hold in the hand. You just end up getting a few hot spots. Ironically up here, where the flipper tab sits, where your thumb might sit when you're cutting something instead of the jimping, it's chamfered in there. You can see that flat edge right there. This right here is where it's relatively sharp. But that's it. That's all I've got so far. I'll say that, the liner, no, it's the lock. Actually, I said liner. Okay, so there's another thing. I'm sorry. Not only is it D2 steel, not only is it on bearings, it's a frame lock. That's not even a liner lock. It's a frame lock. They cut it out of the frame. The lock is part of the frame. It's just insane for 27 bucks. Like I when I saw it on Amazon, I thought it was some kind of flash sale because it just seems too good to be true. And I saw that it was D2 steel, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get this, and the action is going to be horrible. It's going to be my beater knife. And the action is great. The action is better than most of my other knives, which is really sad. The pocket clip is fine. It's not super deep carry. The clip is designed to be deep carry, but it's set a little bit lower than the tip. So, you'll still have some sticking out of your pocket, but who cares about that? Honestly, you got like maybe a 1/4 inch of knife sticking out of your pocket. Big deal. This is amazing so far. I'll put out the full review eventually, but I just had to get this out there because this thing is blowing my mind. Now, I will say, this Firebird knife, Ganzo company, it's made in China. I'm not necessarily opposed to something just being made in China. However, what I am kind of opposed to are clones. It's hard to endorse clones. I started doing a little bit more research on this company, And I saw some knives that are suspiciously similar to Spyderco in pretty much every regard. And I'm sure they have other clones as well. I tried to find out whether or not this knife was a clone of some other knife, and I couldn't find anything. This one seems to be their own design. But yeah, I mean, God, 2750. You're getting D2 steel on bearings with a frame lock and a deep carry clip. There's like nothing else you could ask for. From a budget perspective, I mean, we're done. The lockup is good. The blade is good. This is amazing. This sets the bar way too high for other companies. And they also send you a carrying pouch. Yeah, it's thin and it's not super protective, but come on. It's even more. They could have just put this thing in a box, said, hey, it's from China, screw you. No, they give you this carrying pouch to store it in when you're using it or when you're not. They're setting the bar way too high. This knife is going to make me judge every other knife in this price range so critically because it is just so good. That's really... Oh, and the other complaint, I guess, this is very, very, very smooth. If for some reason you're sweating a lot, maybe it might be a little bit slippery, but I mean, either way, when you're gripping it, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can get a good grip on this knife, but just for the record, in the hand, if you're lightly gripping it, it's very, very, very smooth. But to some of you, that might even be a pro. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's a con. It's just a quality of the knife. That's all I got for now, but I had to put this out there because this thing is blowing my mind, and I love the finish. I'll say I'm attracted to this finish. It's got this, dark stone wash kind of thing all over the entire blade. This is another one I can't wait to put a mirror edge on, so that'll be nice. But there you go. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for. I'll put out the full review soon. But right now, this thing is, man, it's looking pretty good. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you soon.